Let me move my face around. Good morning everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be doing a traditional foundation review, and today we are going to be reviewing the Prada Reveal Foundation, which I believe this is their skin optimizing foundations. I have this in the shade MW45. This is a warm undertone, medium tone. Hopefully it's a good shade match. This foundation retails for $70. So I was not gonna go and buy like multiple shades to try and make sure that like it was a perfect shade match. I just went with what I thought was best based on what I could see online. Just so everybody knows, the refillable component, which is basically just like the liquid itself, is $55. So the full price of the foundation, including all the packaging, is $70, and then the refillable part of it, which I'm assuming is this part. Yes. Okay, so this part lifts up. Packaging wise, this does feel very luxurious. This feels very on brand with what Prada is. I like how they have this like bezel that just makes it easy to like kind of hold on to. It's weighty, it feels good. This is easy to replace. This does not make me nervous about replacing the foundation at all. And then we have a nice metal cap. The other thing that I really like about Prada right now is just like, I love the little lime green, mint green accents. Like you guys know, I love a good light shade of green, aka my wall. That's just one of those little fun details that I really like. So to start us off, a quick little description of this foundation. It's supposed to be a skin optimizing foundation that refines the skin in 3 dimensions, including tone, luminosity, and texture to reveal soft filtered skin in real life. The foundation has a breathable, soft matte finish and up to 24-hour wear. Oh, really? We shall see about that. Basically, it also has SPF 17. It has vitamin E, niacinamide, and lactobacillus extract complex. So it's going to help skin tone, enhance the skin's natural radiance and hydration, and refines skin texture. So again, folks, this is the shade MW45. So let's go ahead and see how this applies, shall we? I am applying my Fenty Beauty Soft Matte Filter primer, which is one of my favorite primers now. All right, so because this is a traditional foundation and it is not a skin tint, we are going to do one side with a brush and then one side with a beauty sponge to really see kind of how this foundation wears. We're gonna do a brush side first. Holy mother of God, I'm so good at doing, like, this is a good shade match, no? Oh, it's a little bit dark. Okay, never mind, I take it back. I think we can make it work though. So, all right, we're gonna do a brush side first on the left side here. Let me turn this way so you guys can really see this. I kind of expected it to be a lot more like liquidy and fluid. It actually does have a little bit in this that feels almost a little bit like moussey, if that makes sense. Which I'm not saying like I have anything against it. I actually rather like it. This is definitely a medium coverage foundation. I think it will be buildable. It does have that, and it does claim to be in the description. This is very easy to blend in. Holy moly. Okay, so this is a really, really light layer on the left side of my face here. Sorry, I went in the wrong direction with the camera. You would think after like so many years of filming, I would go the right way. Anyway, so yeah, so this is actually, it's not bad. I really like how it really has blurred out my skin. That claim is like 100% true. I don't feel like my pores are really, really accentuated or anything like that. Like I can just tell on this side of my face where I just don't have anything, like you can see all of that peeking through really, really heavily. This side just seems a little bit more refined. Coverage is a little bit less. I still have some redness peeking through. I still have a lot of like my discoloration peeking through. What I like about it though is that this is a very realistic foundation. So let's go ahead now and try the other side with the beauty sponge. I'm very curious to see kind of how this goes. I'm gonna pick that up on my sponge. Okay, I can already tell. The sponge definitely soaks up way too much of this foundation. Because it is something that's a little bit more like light coverage, I'm like, I might not like it with a sponge. Typically speaking, I like sponges when I'm really applying a foundation that's a lot thicker, that I want to make sure doesn't apply cakey on my face. I don't have that concern with this foundation, and because it is $70, we're going to be looking at this as like an investment. So do I want my beauty sponge in the future soaking up my foundation? No, it needs to last as long as possible. And by last as long as possible, I just mean the amount of foundation that I get, right? Like this is not a foundation that I want to be just casually throwing around, you know what I mean? However, having said that, it is really beautiful with a beauty sponge. It is sinking lovely really, really lovely into my skin. Again, very, very blurring. I really like it. I did use a little bit more of the foundation, so I would consider this to be a little bit thicker of a layer of foundation than what's on the left side of my face. So we are gonna go back and apply one more layer, one more light layer on the left side with the brush. Wow, I like it. This is extremely comfortable. I literally do not feel like I'm wearing anything on my skin. So I'm gonna take a little bit more on to this side of my face, mostly just because I do want to match. Like, I don't want to go outside and there's like, it's not matching, you know what I mean? So yeah, applies beautifully with both. I would say for this one, I'm gonna do a little bit more of a stippling to really push that into my face. Ooh, ooh, but it has a slight fragrance. That might be the SPF though. It fades really fast. Like, I'm already not getting it anymore. It's not offensive though. It's not like one of those fragrances where you're like, why did you put rose in your foundation? Well, like, I love that, but I recognize that not everyone else does. It's not at all like that. It literally just, it's probably just an ingredient in there, maybe the SPF. Okay, so here's my face, very large in the camera so that you guys can really see what this foundation looks like. I am obsessed with how blurred out my skin looks. However, it still looks really realistic. This does not feel like one of those foundations where it's like, let me sacrifice your natural beauty for coverage. My freckles are still showing through. I still have a little bit of discoloration. This is like what I would consider a perfect everyday foundation. I am really curious to see how this wears throughout the day because man, if that 24-hour claim is real, like, okay. All right, folks, you guys know the deal. I'm gonna put on the rest of my face and we'll be back to let you guys know how concealer and everything else laid on top of it. By the way, I'm starting to notice, does anyone else feel like this is slightly oxidized or is it just because it's blurred out my face? Maybe just a little bit. See, I can kind of see it getting a little darker. Let me see this. Yeah, just a tiny bit. There's a little bit of oxidizing going on. So, okay, we'll be right back. There is something about this foundation and the way that it blurs out that it literally makes any cream product, any powder product literally just glide like right on top of the foundation. Nothing pulls this foundation off. Like, it does feel like it's very much adhered to your skin. It was a very pleasant experience putting on my makeup today. I also felt inspired by like the subtle hints of green within their packaging and their branding that I was like, oh, let me pull out my mint green eyeliner. So that's what we're going with today. I really like how everything is looking right now. If this stays on for 24 hours, which admittedly, like, it's not gonna be a 24-hour test because I'm not staying up for 24 hours for you guys, but it is gonna be a very long day. I actually have to go pack. We're driving down to SLO today. It's not bad. I like it so far. See you guys in a few hours. Hey everyone, it's been about 4 hours. We're going to keep this check-in relatively quick because it's currently sprinkling, but I was like, I need to be outside to show you guys kind of what this foundation looks like. Let me just say that it looks incredible. Like, everything is still very blurred. It doesn't look like my skin is really kind of breaking apart at all. Hopefully the focus is correct. It is a little bit hard for me to see because it's like bright and sprinkling, like my favorite combination. I feel highly suspicious about the 24-hour claim that they say because to me, I can feel just some of it feeling a little bit like, I feel a little oily, like on my forehead and a little bit on my cheeks, which is like typically where my problem areas are. So I'm a little bit like, not too sure, but everything looks really, really good at the 4-hour mark. I don't think I have anything that's like breaking down or anything. Everything still looks pretty flawless, very blurred. The one thing I did want to say too, though, is that under certain lighting, I do feel like the shade has oxidized even further than what I originally thought when I first put it on. So when I first put it on, I was like, it seems like it just kind of like matches my skin tone even more. Right now, I'm starting to notice that like in some lighting, I'm like, it looks kind of dark. But so far at the 4-hour mark, pretty good. Pretty good. We are now another 4 hours into our wear time. And honestly, like, everything looks pretty good. Like, even under like normal lighting, everything looks very smooth. That blurred effect is still going very, very, very strong. Like, I'm very impressed with it. It still doesn't feel like I have anything on my face. I can do all my facial expressions without anything creasing, without anything caking. So everything seems to be staying like pretty put. In terms of this being a long wear foundation, like, I do actually feel like it's doing pretty well because typically speaking, around like the 6 to 8 hour mark is when things are starting to, I'm getting that feeling that it's not gonna make it to the 12-hour mark, and I definitely don't have that because, like, as you can see, right, like, everything looks super smooth. Like, it's kind of That's weird. It's like odd to me. I mean, I obviously still have like my skin texture and stuff like that that's peeking through, but other than that, things look pretty solid. So we are about to head out on our small little road trip. So by the time I check in, I think that'll be the final check-in of the day, because at that point I'll definitely have been wearing this foundation for at least 14 hours. So all good things. All right, so I will see you guys in a few hours. Hey everyone, final check-in time. I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. There is no way in hell this is a 24-hour wear foundation unless you are of the dry skin type, because I am here to tell you it is definitely worn off of my face right here. It's definitely worn off on my cheeks where I tend to get the oiliest. You can see a lot of my skin peeking through right here. You can also see it peeking through as well on this side. I will say that my forehead looks pretty good. Everything still looks very smooth. However, 24 hours is a big fat lie. This is something that's definitely a little bit of a disappointment. What I like about it is how it's worn off. It doesn't feel like it's patchy at all. It still feels like my skin looks really beautiful. It just looks, you know, like it wore off naturally. I am still gonna test it for the rest of the week. We'll see how it goes. For the first impression, like, yeah, it wore nicely, but definitely not still on at this point in time. So see you guys at the end of the week. Hey everyone, welcome back. It is now the end of the week, so let's go ahead and talk about our final thoughts on the Prada foundation. All right, I'm gonna start with something that is just like a very trivial complaint. Why? It literally sounds like a spray can. You know, like the spray paint cans that you use, right? Like before you use, you have to shake it up so that like you can, you know, the paint comes out easily. This is literally what that reminds me of. And for a luxury experience, I'm like, really, guys? And I know the reason for this is because it is a refillable foundation, but I just expect this to just be a little bit more of an airtight fix. I think it's actually rattling against the cap, and I'm like, so actually at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this foundation, to be totally honest, if you wanted to forego the experience of like this plastic thing on the outside, I would just straight up buy the refill of the foundation and just use this, because like, this is glass, like this is nice, this is just, it's extra, and I'm not sure I really like it. So anyway, that's my very long-winded way of saying that like, to save money, you can actually just purchase this for $55, which is great. This foundation is so weird. It does not work with any primer. Like the best wear time with this foundation is if you literally just have moisturizer on your skin and you just go in with the foundation. I tried this with a bunch of different kinds of primers, whether it be like silicone-based, water-based, pore filling, hydrating, and like everything literally just made this foundation slip off my face. It is honestly like the weirdest thing ever, because typically for me, like I find that primers really help with my foundation wear time, and this one just was like, nope, we don't like playing with anything. We just like being on top of moisturized skin, and that's when you're gonna get like this beautiful, flawless, like smooth finish. When I didn't use a primer underneath this foundation, I could usually get this foundation to go about 8 to 10 hours of like a really beautiful, decent wear time. And then around the 10-hour mark is when it would start kind of fading off of your face. Now, this is one of those foundations where I would say it does fade really, really nicely. Like your skin starts to slowly shine through. So in that way, I do really like how this foundation wears. My favorite thing about this foundation, to be totally honest, is on the days when I feel like my skin looks very, very textured, like it just feels kind of dry, but I don't want to go in with like a very hydrating foundation because I don't want my skin to then like go over the top like glowy. This is a great foundation to go with, and it does have SPF 17 in it, so I do really like that. Compared to like my Giorgio Armani foundation that, you know, is obviously up there in price point, the fact that like Dior is also around that price range, the fact that like even Lancome's Tate Idole foundation is now around that price point, like I definitely think that like if you're looking for something that's more on that high-end perspective, this is something I would actually say like, feel free to check it out if you're someone who really, really likes that like blurred glass skin kind of approach, but without being like super shiny, if that makes sense. This gives me like frosted glass skin, if that makes sense, right? Like it's not going to be that shiny glass, but it's going to be that like very smooth yet like semi-matte foundation. So hopefully this foundation review was helpful for you. If you liked this video, please feel free to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in next week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.